Industries and Norca, Government of Kerala, to deliver the presidential address. He is also the co-programmer of this conclave. Over to you, Dr. K. Ellangovan.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chief Minister of, I'm sorry, and Honorable Minister for Labour and Skills, Government of Kerala, Sri T.P. Ramakrishnan, Madam K. Ratnaprabha, Chairperson, Karnataka Skill Development Authority, Sri Satyajit Rajan Sir, Additional Chief Secretary, Labour and Skills, Mr. Mekin and Mr. Goswami, and very distinguished attendees, participants, ladies, and friends. At the outset, I would like to thank APAC Network for having taken this initiative to organize a two-day conference. Equally, I am thankful to my senior colleague, Mr. Satyajit Rajan, for taking such a keen interest in this conference. Indeed, who personally ensured that I attend this conference and share some of my thought process. Having said that, this event, to my mind, is so relevant in today's context. Basically, nurturing entrepreneurship mindset, facilitating upgraded skill development in the new world order is something which every person who is concerned about the employment opportunity for the youth, economic development of the nation is concerned. To my mind, today we are actually confronting several issues. First, we have a basic issue of the misplaced conception or perception about jobs. When you talk about jobs, I'm talking about the skill sets. There is an overwhelming response for certain set of skill sets called the professional courses and professional jobs. And virtually there are no, seat takers in courses which are not seen very lucrative. That's the reason that we have too many proliferating professional colleges with a few people, with a lot of jobs with a lot of people going jobless. At the same time, we have acute shortage of skill sets and a huge employment opportunity in other areas. So this misplaced recognition about the profession we profess is something which is very, very difficult to say. What is that we basically facilitate in terms of skill sets development? Looking at the academia or looking at the curriculum, what we do is not actually sort of in congruence with what is required. There is a huge disconnect today. You see the economy from the primary sector to secondary sector and tertiary sector. Everyone thinks that this is the path of progression. But seldom people understand that many states, especially with the higher literacy rates like Kerala, they jump from stage 1 to stage 3 directly. We, for instance, have gone from primary sector dominance to a tertiary sector dominance. Our youths are all highly technically oriented, very well educated, but they cannot work in low-paid manufacturing jobs. That's one reason why Kerala is not able to attract huge investments in manufacturing sector. Because today's youth see manufacturing as a hard job, low-paid job. So the economy or the ecosystem in the state facilitates only high-tech, highly skilled, and technology-driven jobs. In which case, if the state government or the policy planners, if we make any changes in the curriculum, maybe 10 years before, to ensure that all those who get out of the schools and the colleges find a job somewhere here and there. So this disconnect between the availability of HR on one side in a particular skill set and the lack of job opportunities in a particular sector is what I thought will be basically addressed by this conference, which is very, very, very important. Now, we don't nurture the entrepreneurship mindset in the students. Students are always told to excel in exams. Now, exams are not the best way to basically find out or even to nurture an entrepreneurship in a youth. I was wondering that why we don't teach finance in schools. Why we call education as school education till class 10. By the time this guy or the girl finishes the school education, he'll be 14, 15 years. On the contrary, the young mind, which is so receptive to ideas, is lost. So I'm going to making big suggestions here. If you wanted to start, if you wanted to inculcate an entrepreneurship mindset in youth, you must shorten the education of school education to 8 years, and the next 4 years, which is now the class 9, 10, 11, and 12, should really be focused on the job which he wants to profess or what he wants to follow up. That is, if you catch them young, you can mold them better. Today, what's happening is, as I said earlier, the misplaced recognition with the long duration of school education, and there is a sandwich course between between school and the universities, creates so much of delays for a person to decide what he wants to do. That is the point number one I wanted to make. Second, in a today's new world order is what is being made as one of the topics. Certainly, today's world is not the world that was yesterday. Now, for instance, this pandemic that is now still doing, Corona 19 has changed the world order. It has shown that industries which are very well versed with information technology have survived. Those industries which did not embrace technology have actually had huge problems, because what was transacted across the table was able to be transacted across the platforms, on e-platforms. So therefore, not only the entrepreneurs, even the units which did not embrace the technology of the day, they had huge problems. This is one difference in my mind that is responsible to divide the industry as successful and unsuccessful. No one thought Corona will be so severe and so long lasting. It was really a test of our time, that who was able to sustain, who was not able to sustain. Therefore, at the individual level, what is the skill set that is required? We all of us know that automation is going to kill jobs. In fact, it is already killing. Automation is going to remove all skilled and semi-skilled jobs to a large extent. All the repetitive processes involved in manufacturing will be taken over by machines. Robots are coming a long way. It's not only manufacturing, even in healthcare, robotic surgeries and robots have taken a huge space. So they are replacing man. So when jobs are lost in the particular sector, what is going to be the job which is going to survive even in future? To my mind, it's only the cognition related jobs, where a decision making is taken by thinking process. Even there today we have got machine learning, artificial intelligence taking over many sectors. So where do we have the jobs for the students and the youths? That's the biggest question everyone wants. Well, you wanted to settle down for a low paid job and also a stable job, you also have a lot of choices. But then if you really wanted to become an entrepreneur, you really wanted to contribute to the economy, the choices are coming down because of technological disruption taking place. Therefore, that's the point. The second issue is that jobs are not available in your vicinity. Jobs are available elsewhere. For instance, geographical disparities. In fact, I know for once sure that the nursing professionals from Kerala have a huge scope, not in Kerala, but in Germany. So, do you plan or do you train our nurses to go across the borders and then do the job? Certainly no. All our focus is to train them for a domestic market. We don't train them for a market abroad. In fact, if at all, someone has gone on a job visa and settled elsewhere, it is because of his personal skill, personal negotiating skill and talent he has gone. Systematically, we don't train them for international migration. Systematically, we don't teach the foreign language where the jobs are going to be there. Japan, all the graying population in the Western Europe and in the East are the places where Indian youth are going to have huge employment opportunities. Therefore, do we have some skill sets that is required to train them? To my mind, immediately comes in soft skills. In fact, I was also in the Embassy of India, Abu Dhabi, handling the community affairs, and I for once knew that basically a migrant in a foreign country needs not only technical skills but a huge amount of soft skills, the cultural values of the country in which they live. We don't teach them. Many a time, many of the Indians actually land up in prison in Abu Dhabi and Dubai because of the cultural issues. So, do you also inculcate those soft skills and cultural values for an international market? But I mean, answer is certainly no. So therefore, what is the way out? My way out is that we have to start right from education. We have to start inculcating value systems right from the young age. That is the role of the government. In fact, in one of the conferences, I have gone to the extent of saying that the curriculum in the schools and in the universities shall constantly be reviewed and changed. Today, it's all changing once in 10 years, once in 8 years. But what I said was every 3 years or 4 years, we have to have a different curriculum, different courses, flexible learning. Why fix an age for learning? Remove all those restrictions. Therefore, you find a new set of entrepreneurs, new set of job learners coming into the field, which will certainly help our economy. The role of industry is very, very significant in this. Now, industry, unless they change their business models in tune with the requirement of the day, they will certainly decay and they'll certainly going to slow down. So what does the industry has to do? Industry has to constantly innovate and they have to constantly imbibe technology to ensure that the talent pool available from the colleges and in the market is given a job, is given some opportunities. We don't have a system of encouraging research and development. Governments are not extending financial assistance in a great extent in terms of research and development. If I understand correctly, whatever the governmental assistance that comes in research and development goes in the Department of Science and Technology, which do not have any industry reach. The departments which are engaging in industries in and day out should be given a lot of money to create an industry and a research academia as a continuum, some sort of interface. That is one thing which the industry and the government have to come together. So therefore, I will now summarize as to what has been the Kerala's rather achievement in terms of entrepreneurship development. As I said earlier, a disconnect between the HR availability of a particular skill set and the job availability of a different kind has forced us to think of starting a startup mission. We knew that a lot of innovative skills are available in the young minds, but they are not being nurtured. So Kerala was one of the first states in the country to start a startup mission. Indeed, the Niti Aayog has recently ranked the states on startup mission or so-called innovative index, where Kerala is one of the top performer. This is because of the initiative taken by the government of Kerala to do this. Today, the startup mission in Kochi has got more than 2,000 incubation seats and close to 200 industrial units are doing the job. So many of our, in fact, products, especially food processing, has come from the startup missions. Now, these startup missions is only a beginning. In fact, the Kerala State Industrial Development Corporation, known as KSIDC, has a whole bunch of incentives for startup missions. Basically, what we do is we assist, we finance mentoring, incubation, seed fund, which is basically working capital, and a recently launched scale up fund. Scaling up is something that was a big challenge for startups. They were not able to go beyond prototype. They were not able to commercialize the products. So scale up fund is one recent scheme which KSIDC has launched. We gave about 7% loan, that is interest 7% loan for 3 years. And now we are thinking of extending assistance in terms of the market reach. I'm happy to say that 70% is the success rate of our angel funding or a so-called seed fund scheme. We also have another institution called Kerala Financial Corporation, which has recently launched a scheme called Chief Minister's Entrepreneurship Development Scheme in the context of COVID 19. COVID 19 actually resulted in large number of the Malayalis, the overseas Malayalis, losing the job mainly in the Middle East and returning to the state. An estimated 8.9 lakh people have lost the job and are back in the state. This has become both a challenge and an opportunity. Challenge because we have to assist them immediately to start an entrepreneurship program or a business of their own. It's an opportunity because it's actually brain gain. We don't understand the amount of expertise they have earned abroad in terms of technological expertise. So what we have done is the Department of Norca, we have launched a portal for both the employees and the employers to launch, come and register so that we can make a matchmaking and do. In fact, already some jobs have been taken up through this portal. So therefore, in the context of COVID-19, what we have to focus is what has been gained by the Pravasis is what we have to channelize and immediately imbibe them in the skill institutions like the CASE and ASAPs. These are skill training institutions. So therefore, KFC gives 90% loan of the project cost. They target 2,000 entrepreneurs a year and at least 1,000 new small units. So these kinds of initiatives, seed fund program of KSIDC, Chief Minister's Entrepreneurship Program of KFC has indeed given a spark. Now people are talking about government support to these new enterprises, which I'm sure in the days to come will really kickstart the economy. Finally, I would like to summarize in yen. I don't intend to talk. You talk. Therefore, basically, what I wanted to say is that this conference should address the issues that can, or rather changes that should be brought in right from the school education and right up to the university and postdoctoral educations. We have to align our courses and knowledge sharing in tune with the industry and technology that is basically developing. This disconnect is immediate. This disconnect has to be immediately addressed. That is point number one. And point number two is that the finance systems or the way we assess them, we have to change our mindset. NPA is really a worrisome issue for bankers. We understand. We also run some non-banking institutions. Nevertheless, are we actually changing into market conditions? Why do you need government instructions every time for the bankers to do? NPAs come not because of assisting small entrepreneurs. It comes because of assisting wrong entrepreneur with a huge investment. Therefore, the working capital assistance, the scale of fund, research fund, all has to flow from the government as well as the industry sources. This is where I think there is a huge scope for industry and banking sort of synergies. Unless we extend this thing, we will not. And third and last point is that entire entrepreneurship activities should be today driven on internet, driven on e-platforms. Days are gone where you wanted a physical sort of presence because a person who is internet savvy, who knows how to communicate on the internet is the future individual. You have to have this technology for the youth so that he not only takes the job in the vicinity, but is also able to tap the job in the far extreme of the world. We have to prepare our youth to be a global citizen and a global worker. If these objectives are achieved to a great extent by means of churning out ideas and strategies in this conference, I think this conference will do a great deal of goodness to the youth of the country. With these few words, again thanking organizers, especially our Satyajit Rajan sir, for making me come and speak my mind here. Let me conclude this my presidential address. Thanks one and all. Wishing every participant a great success in these interactions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. K. Ellangovan, Principal Secretary Industries and North Government of Kerala, for wonderfully giving insights on the overall vision of how to build up the startup and entrepreneurial ecosystem from the school level itself. And also, what should be the role of industries and academia and the banking sector? Because Dr. Ellangovan has already summarized his speech, but as he has rightly said that he has given an example of Kerala startup movement, and he talked about the food processing unit, food processing startups, how they've changed the game in the state. It reminds me of a quote by Warren Buffett. He said that someone is sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago. I think that is a very inspiring quote for all the young entrepreneurs. I myself has become an entrepreneur. APAC is a new baby in the field, but it's also aiming to strive more and more and to get more heights. And I think Mekan is also smiling, and Rajan is also smiling. We all know the pains of being an entrepreneur, but end of the day, as Mr. Rajan said in the beginning, the happiness you get when you see the success of being an entrepreneur, you actually uh, leave a mark to the society. So that's also quite important, as Mr. Ellangovan has also said. The future lies in the using leveraging digital platform for startups, because that will make their life easy. At the same time, they can reach out to more and more targeted audience to using digital platform in that way. Thank you so much, Dr. Ellangovan, for delivering the presidential address.